So this again, like this whole unit is just focusing on how we can solve quadratic equations in multiple ways. So in the past, what we've done so far is we've talked about how we can use graphs and tables. We've talked about factoring. And then just this past lesson, we talked about taking the square root of something, right? So for the examples we were doing this lesson, we had just x squared, and we didn't have any other like in-between term, right? It was just x squared equals some number. So for completing the square, the idea is that we want to have it sort of in this format where we do have it being x squared, but it's x plus or minus some number then squared. So it's that whole quantity squared. So for example, if we had this set up here, just like what we were doing earlier, we're going to take the square root. So if we take the square root from both sides in this setup, right, if I were to take the square root here and take the square root here, on this left side, I would just end up getting whatever my quantity was that was squared. So this would just become x minus 3. And then on this side, I would get plus or minus the square root of 49. So plus or minus the square root of 49, which is 7. And then from here, now it's easy for me to solve for what x would have to be. I just split it up into two different possible equations. So one equation, one possibility, is that x minus 3, I'll put like a 1 here. One possibility is that x minus 3 equals negative 7. And then my other possibility is that x minus 3 equals positive 7. And this is just like what we were doing earlier with factoring, where we were saying like, oh, we have these two possibilities. In the factoring problems, we were setting them equal to 0. In this problem, rather than it equaling 0, it equals either negative 7 or positive 7. And then from here, I just solve. So I add 3 to both sides. This will give me one answer is x equals negative 4. My other answer, if I add 3 to both sides, 3, and then I get x equals 10. So here I have my two solutions, either x equals negative 4 or x equals 10 for this part to be true. So there are a few steps to get to this point, but the idea is once we get to this point where we have some quantity squared equals some number, then we can use the ideas we learned today of just taking the square root of both sides. And then when we take the square root, we have a plus or minus, a positive answer and a negative answer, and then solving for x from there. So this is like our goal to get to this point, but we have to do a few steps to get there.